Hey everybody, it's John Peevler. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about canoe expedition equipment. So this year, actually in about a week, I'm going to be headed up to the Kokolek River, the north slope of Alaska. So we'll fly into Kotzebue. We'll take a small, bush plane up to the headwaters of the Kokolek River. That will flow north up to Point Lay. That'll be something like, I think, 13 days on the river. But anyways, this video is not so much about the river as it is about the stuff. So I'm gonna show you the equipment that I've got. I'm gonna make my camera really angry. There we go. This camera likes to track my face. So anyways, so I am doing this out of the fulfillment location for my personal business. So anyways, ignore how long this table is. I know it's a huge luxury to have a table this long. Anyway, so I'm just gonna kind of walk through all the equipment. So this is not everything that we need. This is everything that I need personally, plus some stuff for one of the boats. I've got an extra PFD for another member of the team, and I've got most of the kitchen gear. So anyways, I've got a carbon paddle, 3-part paddle from Warner Paddles. I've got a paddle leash, pump, bilge pump, map case. I've done a little custom work on some yak pad knee pads, so I've joined those together so a little easier to secure. I've got neoprene socks that go over the boots on my dry suit. I've got long Gore-Tex socks from Kokatat. Those are kind of for if I've decided it's like a hot day, I'm gonna wear more like sandals, but I want to keep my feet dry. I've sort of got that option. It gives me a few options depending on what we're doing that day. On my PFD, I have a knife on the exterior. I have trauma shears that I keep on board on a tether. I do serve kind of the medic role, even though I'm not a certified medic anymore. Lost my EMT cert a long time ago, but anyways, more training than most. Although I think this year we do have an EMT on the team as well. So I've got a signal mirror that I keep in there as well. There is a whistle attached to my PFD, and then I'll usually have 1 or 2 carabiners, not exactly where that one is, but that's basically the rig that I use, and that's a Kokatat vest. I do have cold weather mitts. I learned from the Icelanders, cut a hole in that. That way you can pull your hand out, and whenever you need more tactile, if I got to tie rope or anything like that, I can very quickly transition, and I can have these sitting on my wrists. Kokatat rain and paddling hat, that makes a huge difference, and just for sun like this, I love that hat. I've had that hat for a long time, since I did Iceland in 2010. This will actually be my second expedition in Alaska. So I did 1,200 miles down the Inside Passage in 2004. So I learned a lot from that trip. Anyways, moving on, a bunch of quick draw that really helps to secure things into the canoe. Thanks to the luxuries of canoe travel, you can have a bit of extra stuff. You don't necessarily have to go so ultralight unless you're going to do a lot of portaging, and there's not any portaging on this trip that we're aware of so far. Maybe some sandbars. I've got a rescue grade dry suit here from Kokatat. This year I'm trying a new option for paddling boot. Always a little risky when you change something, but read a lot of reviews, and based on experience as well, I'm going with the extra tough neoprene boot. I like that you can roll them down, so you get a little less boot in that case, and you can roll them up. I am using Ortlieb dry bag for my personal bag, so all of my stuff will live inside of that bag every day. I've got one set of bow and stern lines. This is floating rope from Sterling with 1 clip each. So as you can see, we do some work with ropes, manufacturing leashes and whatnot. So anything involving ropes, pretty easy to do in-house. I've got 2 Northwater throw bags, 2 different models. This one has a built-in bilge, what do you call it? I can't think of the word. To scoop the water out of the boat. I'll think of that word later. I don't know why I'm blanking on that. Anyway, here's the med kit. Pretty good. We've got a Cat 5 tourniquet. We've got epinephrine pens. We've got ability to read heart rate and oxygen saturation. Not that we can do anything about oxygen saturation out there, but at least kind of understand how somebody's doing. Some emergency electrolytes, lots of different meds in there, and all the basics for trauma and any minor thing that happens. We've got ability to do at least some triage medicine. There are accessory bags and dry bags throughout. I won't go through every single thing, but I think it's useful if you've not done this type of high Arctic trip before. Like, I know there's plenty of people who will nerd out on this kind of stuff. So I'm just going to go through. So I've got a Gore-Tex 800 fill sleeping bag from Mountain Hardware. That is the end all be all. That thing is so amazing. I do have a liner so that when I'm stinky, it doesn't get stinky. You've got that option. Ultralight sleeping pad, blow up pillow, that's sleeping gear. We do have an eye mask that's farther down the table just because it lives somewhere else. And then my personal clothing, I got my sexy underwear. I've got waterproof socks, thick wool socks, hiking wool socks. I'll also be wearing compression wool socks on the plane. And so I'll have 4 pairs of socks, period, other than the ones that go outside of the dry suit. I've got a lovely hat from National Mill Dog Rescue and also my wristband because that is one of my work clients and they're incredible. Check them out. I love the work they do and the way they do it. Anyway, shameless plug for them. Down vest, light layer. I've got 3 base layers. So I have a long sleeve with hood that's a merino synthetic blend. I have a short sleeve merino, and I'll be wearing a synthetic base layer on the plane. I'll have a sun shirt on the plane as well. Then I have light thermal long johns. I have 2 pairs of the Fjordhaven paddling pants. I mean, they're kind of a dual pant, but I'll be wearing one on the plane. I have 1 pair of extra, which really is for like the flight home probably when I'll want to be clean, but I have 2 pairs of pants. That's what that boils down to. I have 1 pair of fleece pants, which feels extravagant. I took it out. I put them back in. There's a chance it'll be really cold. There's also a chance it'll be really hot. There's no way to know what you're going to get up there. This will be really nice if it's needed and really pointless if it's not. Towel, a day bag. So that's where I'll have ready access to my kit. That will be just behind me. I can reach in and get my camera, stuff like that. I've got a down puffy jacket. I've got a fleece layer. Then I've got an expedition shell and rain pants. So hiking, like whatever, it gets me all the different layers that I need. That's everything for clothes. It's not really that much clothes. It's just kind of spread out and it's going to pack down pretty dang small. These hikers, these are what I'll wear on the plane, and then camp shoes. Just really an ultralight sandal. So 3 pairs of shoes. Between the lot of them, they don't weigh that much. I've got my pro camera, and I'm bringing a tripod. I'm really splurging on that because it's just so important to me to document this incredible place, this place that's really disappearing with climate change. So I want to document it, and I think it's worth that extra effort. Pretty big solar panel. That is a little bit splurge, although necessary for the camera maybe, but also like a critical emergency toolkit. You could do something a lot smaller than that. That will like charge like a wall outlet for anything that I've brought. I do have a filter on this bottle, although we do group filtration with bags. That's not in my responsibility, so I don't have more filtration than that. But it's nice to have that backup, and it means that I can just filter my own water whenever. Good pair of binoculars, because again, so much about the memories. You don't want to miss anything. Those are just amazing. Head net, sunglasses, kind of ridiculous sunglasses, but it's okay. I'll be cool, and they'll float. Headlamp, probably useless because it'll be the summer solstice and daylight pretty much the entire time, but still kind of like a thing you should bring. Maybe it'll get dark enough in the 10. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, more organizers. I'm actually just using an accessory camera battery as my power bank because it's just a smaller size than the big one that I usually bring. So just pretty convenient. It's not as functional as the big one I usually bring from Goal Zero, so I can either charge or draw down. I can't do both at the same time, which will be a limiting factor, but I think it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Single wire. I may add one more. I haven't decided yet, and then a very small, basically just for the airport charger. So I arrive with everything full. Barbell, writing utensils, pen and pencil. Carmex, don't go anywhere without it. I got a brand new Garmin Messenger, so I can send pictures and short voice memos. So hopefully Whether you saw this video or not, you could follow on social media, and you'll have some sense of where we are and what's going on. I'm not going to do too much in that regard because I really want to focus on enjoying the trip. But I think it's still, it's cool to have that. Kindle, just because this is the lightest way to have multiple books. So saving a little weight with that. I did pre-download several books. Personal hygiene kit is really like teeth. And whatever else I need. A little bit of soap. I will bathe in the river a few times. It's nice and cold, keep you alive. I'm only using natural bug spray. My first time actually this year using fully natural. One of our members does not use bug spray at all and manages to cope. I figure this is kind of splitting the difference, and then I don't have something that's, I don't know, going to give me cancer later. I don't want to give any false medical advice. I'm thinking about, for myself, I'd like to use non-toxic bug spray. I don't know what causes cancer, what doesn't. Anyway, poop kit, because everybody poops. So there's hand sanitizer, paper, wipes, like just good hygiene stuff in there. Really nice quality eye mask my wife bought me for Christmas. That's pretty awesome. A couple more organizer bags, and a camp chair. Not really a luxury, honestly. Like sitting on rocks for a week will do you in. So backup stove. So I've got a Whisper Light multi-fuel, like really universal fuel. That thing will burn any fuel that you could possibly get. 2 cans for that. This is purely backup. We've got an adapter for propane. It will take butane off of this, and then it will switch over onto this, which is the pump for the can. So we will carry these 2 full of white gas. That is really just backup for emergency. If something were to fail. Having redundancy on cooking, pretty important, especially as you're above tree line and there's not enough fuel up there. You end up, it's really hard to have a fire up there in that situation. We also don't have cookware that you can put on a fire, so it would be very, very challenging to survive. All right, so I went ahead and upgraded the jet boil because there's 6 people this year, so that'll give us about 1.6 liters of fast boil water. So that will be for granola, that'll be for tea and coffee. There is a French press built into that, so really a nice rig. And that will run off of this single jet boil burner. This burner is different than a normal jet boil. It connects onto their Genesis system, which is our primary cook platform. That is 2 burners. Amazing, like really amazing. There's a what the hell's that thing called? I think a flux capacitor or something is what MSR called it, or something like that. It's a heat transfer element. Anyways, it's very efficient. There's a different word for that. I'm blanking on that as well. Like my bailing jug earlier. Can't think of simple words. Anyway, so this Genesis system is really amazing. They're integrated igniters on here, and then again that connects to the 3rd burner. So just this one system, we have 3 burners, so you can really be efficient about how you cook and prepare food for multiple people. I'm bringing cookware for 4 of us. 2 people are bringing their own basic things, their cup and their bowl. Our tongs are also, you can split them apart, and that's my fork spoon. A couple of basic cooking utensils and a knife for that as well. Fire capabilities, just so we can start a fire. Like I said, I mean, we can make fire. That is possible. There are things that will burn. We don't normally, and don't spend a lot of time with fire, but at least we have that capability. That's really for emergencies. Actually, a pretty big sink, really nice when you have 6 people, so that unrolls. It's a big NSR sink, and then one 10-liter water bladder. That goes with what somebody else is bringing as well. This is our lunch kit, so that is what lunch will go into, just for grab and go, so we're not getting into the blue barrels in the middle of the day. I'm bringing 1 blue barrel, 2 others are bringing 2 more, so we'll have 3 of these barrels, 1 per boat. And these will be full of food and all of the cook gear. I've got some organizer bags for that as well. From a couple of different companies. I've got Northwater and Recreational Barrel Works. Some external organizers here, and then internal organizers here. This is a group gear bag, a little bit cooking stuff, a little bit some of the camping stuff. Again, I'm not bringing a tent this year, but you could see this is a lot of stuff, and that's not 6 people worth of stuff. That's 1, and then some group gear. So, I mean, it is a lot of stuff and it looks like a lot of stuff, but as you think about it, like each thing performs a role. I mean, you really don't want the trip to be about the stuff, but you also want the trip to be comfortable enough that you can truly enjoy it, and then safe enough. So a lot of this stuff is purely safety related gear, no other function. So that's obviously vital. And then cooking, like you got to be able to cook. And I think I think, and everybody else agrees that having a backup stove really just makes a ton of sense. So anyway, that's prep for the Kokalik, and this is kind of a long video. You're only going to watch it if you're super into this stuff. But we'll do more updates as we go. Send you some stuff from the field, and then certainly afterwards I'll do a full write up and hopefully some video content then as well.